Welcome back to another episode of a restoration that we're doing. I hope you've been enjoying them. This one, you may have seen the car before. It's been here for a while. This is one we've been doing on and off over the years, Series 1 E-Type. As you can see, it's got an alley bonnet and everything, but we're just letting it down to sort of crack back on with it and hopefully stay on it right through to the finish. Probably seen the wheels and the little spats here, so it's going to be a bit of a fast road, lightweight sort of replica, I suppose. We've already, recreation they call them now. Yeah. Recreation. It's not replica. It's not a replica, it's a recreation, all right? We've already done before, it's had all the floors done. We're going to clean it off. Seals, doors. We've made the back wings for it on the English wheel. They are an inch or an inch and a half, Stan? I can't remember. Inch and a half wider each side. The car's going to be debumpered, no chrome on it. And that's sort of where we've got so far. Still be running all the original Jag running gear, just be on Weber's and things like that, like a fast road example. And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna film us through it, the last few bits of metal work and through the paint stage. Sensible video? Sensible video. This will be a sensible video for the sensible people. Yeah, there's no Jay-Z going in this one, unfortunately. Stan's gonna get it all cleaned off, hoovered up, and we'll try and remember how far we got with it. I think the next job is we're going to put the filler flap in here, but not a flap, like a proper cap, sunk in, recessed in. We're going to do that, and then it will be a couple of little bits of welding, and then all the putting in the factory lead, where they're supposed to be lead filled. So we'll be doing that, we'll film that again. Yeah, let's put in some fancy music and get on with it.
Give us down low.
What I've done is I know what I want it to look like. So I've started making the template. Where's the cap? Here's the cap. So here's the cap that's going to be on the back there, and that will screw onto this piece. We don't need that one. So I've made this little template that goes around the edge, which will end up sitting in there, Stan, like that. But where the old filler was, I just cut that out. So I'm gonna make a thing and go in there. But I was just lining it up to make a piece of metal to go in. And then I was like, well, I still have the original standard wings that we cut off. So I'm just gonna bosh that. Not the whole thing, I'll cut it down. I'm just gonna cut a section out of the original piece of wing and just shape it into there, because, well, it's nice to keep it original, isn't it? The original ones. In it, Abe.
So you're gonna make it around there.
The whole thing, and then I'll just linish that corner off.
Shape it up to
I'm gonna trim that and put that in there. And then I'll cut that hole out, make that piece, weld that in there, job's a fish.
Bob's your auntie.
Fuck off then. I've welded that whole plate in, which was completely solid. I had it all filled in, and then I've marked up with the templates that we made on there where I wanted the hole, and then we've made this little dish which will sit in there now. Try and balance it in there, something like that. So I'll just trim that now to fit in that hole. I'll finish welding this whilst this is out, because I can get in and planish that all out, and then that will sit in there with a nice recess, and I'll put a drain hole down in the bottom corner to stop it filling up with water.
What's doing today then, Charles?
Well, today, Stanley, what I'm doing is finish this. Pretty much, I haven't bolted it on yet. I don't know where to put that. I'm not sure whether to put it straight back or quite like it sort of off to the side.
I think it's got to be on the old morning
angle.
Morning angle.
But yeah, that's all that welded in there. And then we'll also, do you want to see that again?
Yes.
Sexual chocolate. We weren't going to have a boot vent before, but because of these kinds of projects, when they start and stop, people change their minds. So apparently now we are having a boot vent. So I've made an alley boot vent, and then I'll
weld it on.
Riv nut that. Yeah, I'm going to weld the alley to the steel boot vent. Yeah, we'll riv that through there and put bolts. If we were doing this when we had the boot skin off, because we had the skin off the frame, I would have sort of made it like that out of steel, and then when the skin was off, I would have boshed it up through the bottom and spot welded it on, and then put the skin on the frame. That's all I've got to say about that.
Wait,
I'm not talking about it. But what we're going to do now is where the shell's been sat for so long, it has been in transport, it's been off to be dipped. I was a little bit suspect about one of the pillars. We're going to drop the screen in and check it fits. Stan's already worked on building the doors up to make sure that everything still fits and refresh ourselves of how it goes. A bit squirrely.
Like a golf.
But yeah, like we've got the pillars now lined up through there, everything fitting. We've got to make a little adjustment on that door for the armrest. So I think that's off of a later car, 1.5, not a 1, Series 1. And that's what we're doing. Good stuff. Let's fit the window then.
Hear that?
Like a golf.
Like a golf.
So I got that cap all fit in there, but I've already said that I need to make a drain. So the drain hole I'll put down here at the low point, and then it will end up piping down into there, where they go. So what I've managed to find over here is a little bit of this. So I'm going to have this bit of pipe off here, and then I'll take that into that piece, and that'll be handsome. That'll be handsome. Because I'm not sure exactly where the bottom section is on that, so I need something like a ball bearing. Hey, have you got a ball bearing? Something like that.
So, oh, hang on a minute. What about a marble?
I might be able to use a marble.
Here you go, mate.
Well, that's it then. I'll bosh a hole in there. It doesn't get more scientific than that.
What's your initial thoughts?
Where's my initial thoughts?
Where was it?
I was going to put the cone cutter straight through your forehead, was my initial thoughts, but then I thought there wouldn't be anything in there to drain out.
Every time you do lead, you got your hood up, you just look like you don't want to be here. Yeah, there you go.
That better?
Yeah.
Today I'm going to, well, Stan's going to have a go as well, he doesn't know it yet. Start leading up the joints, the factory joints that I think we showed you already. So there's the 2 up here, 2 there, 2 on the balance, around this wing top where the seals go on. And there's quite a lot to do actually, quite a bit of lead work. So we'll do this one first. This is the tinning paste. We'll put it in there. This helps, so I'll heat this up in a minute. And that helps the lead stick to the panel, otherwise it will just fall off. So just for anyone that doesn't know, Ed's looking at that going, that's a really horrible repair, why have you done that? That is how Jag done it, that's an original Jag joint. And then this is what they would have done, lead filled it up. Yeah, and we use the lead in there because it will flex, the lead will flex with the car. If you just filled that, it would end up cracking and that joint would show through. And here's the sticks of leather used. I like to use the slimmer ones, you get like bigger ones, but these are more sort of workable. But I mean, it's obviously going to flex and that's all in there. That, if the car moves, that can move with it, and it doesn't shrink back like filler does. I'm going to let Stan do the upside down bits.
Thanks.
I'm going to do the nice easy panel, just straight down. I'll just heat this up, and you will see it will start to go like a goldy bronze. See that, Stan?
Wow.
Wipe it off. Right, that's tinned. Good enough for what we need to do. We'll start warming this up and slapping it in. It's going to take quite a lot in that bit there. Looks like they've sent a bit of MIG around it, really. But gas welded, I'd imagine. The back of then. I'm just going to splodge it in there. Look at that. What a sexual chocolate that is. See, now this bit is really, this is a really easy joint to do. So it just goes straight down, it can't run anywhere. But it's when you're trying to do the upside down ones, or even on the side of the car where the seals are, it gets a little bit more involved. You can't just melt it so it's a liquid like that, because it'll run on the floor. Got enough lead on there now to start working it in. Warm this up to just help the lead sort of stop sticking to the paddle. Yeah, and then just warm it up and paddle it in. I'll show you. Well, probably pretty much do for that. And the next stage of that will be to file it down. Yeah, file that out smooth. Yeah. Bastard file in there and file it out. Stan's on the lead, having a go. First time, Stan? First time. You probably wondering why we've got a farmer here. It's not a farmer, it's Stan.
And he's not related to Dave Randall.
He's not related to Dave Yandel, although he looks like a farmer. Oh, yeah, he's put that in there. File that back. And, yeah. How have you found your first time leading, Stanley?
It's more tricky than it looks.
More tricky than it looks? Fuck off, Charles. We got all the lead filling done and we've filed it back. See there, just take the worst off with the file. And now we're just going round. You can see there, Stan's DA'd that back and feathered it in on the top and the bottom. And now we're just going around the edges, tidying it up. And then we'll DA the whole shell, give it an acid, and then we'll be looking at getting it into epoxy primer. You can see as well, if you do any leading, it can start to go rusty, like where you've used the heat. So we'll clean that back as well. The acid will clean all that off. And that'll be handsome. Won't it, Stan? He's not very happy today. He's grumpy. He's grumpy Stan today. Bring this all down. Just put it up on the ramp in a minute and file back that underside seam. We've only gone halfway how it would have been from the factory. Gert Lush, brother. Oh, Stan. Shut up.
What are you thinking then, Charles?
Wow. Quite like it. We've obviously got, as you can see, we've got the Jag now outside. We've done the last few bits of metal work that we were doing, bits of welding that we had to do. Done a semi-dry fit with the windows, lights, headlight covers, stuff like that, just to make sure, because obviously had a lot of work. So that was the dry fit side of it, but we've also done, as you've seen, all the lead work's done now, on all the joints, tops and bottoms and around there. And also you can see all this like holographic finish. You might have seen that in a few of our other videos. So we phosphoric acid the steel part of the body, cleans off any of the rust, any imperfections we don't like, wash it off with water, dry it up. Got the hard top on now. It's quite an old one that we already had in stock, so we've just stripped all the paint back to gel coat, trimmed it around. See, this was slightly higher here where we pulled the arches. When we put the new arches on, we bring them up, otherwise you end up with like a weird double curve. So we pulled them to trim that around to make that fit. We've cleaned up the inside a little bit. All the new frameworks on the front. So when we strip it down, the next stage for this, we're going to get all the running gear out, panels back off, all the trinkets that we put on off, and do a final acid on the inside underneath, and in the engine bay. We'll clean all this e-coat off of the front frames. We'll start prepping it up, ready to put it in the epoxy primer. So we're gonna have a little look at it, have a cup of tea like, get it back in the workshop and start ripping it to pieces. But that's basically it. Let us know, comment on here and let us know what you think of it, like of the fast road that we've built. We appreciate to hear from you. What do you think, don't we? We got the E-Type back in the workshop now, and we're just going to start stripping it down. Stan's going to have the roof off, get the back axle out. Stan's going to strip the doors back down, screen out, all the front suspension off. Back axle's out now, as you can see. It's been in there a little while. Stan's got this door stripped off. He's just doing that door. So I'm going to hook out all the front suspension now. So we were stripping down the E-Type, and then I suddenly sort of realised and thought that our trolley that we normally use is on another E-Type, which is down there on the ramp with the wheels on. So I thought we'd better make another one. So we've gone in on where the anti-roll bar mounts on the back, and then on the front We've just gone in where the torsion arms would go through on there. So now we've got it all trolleyed up. We'll take the screen out, move forward to getting it in the booth tomorrow. That's what we're gonna do. In the right, Stan? So we've got the shell cleaned and stripped now. Stan's running off. Look at the barnet on that, mind. That's majestic. Yeah, he's acided the inside, taken the frames off, done the bulkhead. So we're just gonna flip the car upside down now so we can acid the underside, and then it'll be ready to go in the booth, which I've said about 4 or 5 times now, but at some point it will actually be ready to go in the booth. Okay then, as you can see, we've got the E-Type stripped down now and cleaned and done all that stuff we were doing, and it's now in the booth. We've got the 2 front frames here, the boot, the doors and the tub. The bonnet is still out there, and the picture frame, we'll do those in a separate batch just because there's quite a lot to get round. So me and Stan are gonna put 2 coats of epoxy on this, then it'll be ready, obviously get those other bits in, then we'll build it all back up, panel it up, line everything up and start on the filler work. That is what we're gonna do. So it's the Delphi epoxy we're gonna use, just mixing it up outside. Let's go and have a look. So this is the epoxy primer that I've mixed. I'm going to use the PPF cups, the vacuum cups, so it makes it a lot easier when we get in under the bulkhead and all under the floor pans. Plus we don't have to put it on the body roller because you can just lie down, spray upside down on those. So we've got the 2 DeVille bisses there. So we're going to get those loaded up and go in and do it. I've got the GoPro in there, so I'll put it on a time lapse and you can see us do it. That's 2 coats of the epoxy now on all those panels. So like I said, we'll do the bonnet and a couple of other little bits that we need to do. And then we'll get it out the booth, get it all fitted back up and start the filler work. Okay, that's the bonnet and the rest of the frameworks now into epoxy primer. We didn't film it because you've seen us do some epoxy primer, so I didn't think you needed to see any more. But we're just fitting the bonnet now. As you can see there, we are going to leave the underside of the bonnet in bare alley, because if you've got an alley bonnet, you want to show it off, really, don't you? Show how big your Johnson is. Like, look at me, I've got an alley bonnet. So Stan's just fitting all the catches for that. We've got the doors on and the boot on. So the next stage will be to key this up, ready for the filler work. Which will take a little while, it always does. That's what we're gonna be doing next. Anyone want to add anything?
Like and subscribe.